Hello and welcome to the Suzanne and Sarah YouTube channel. My name is Sarah and today we are talking about one of the best things to do here in Bend, and that is how to float the Deschutes River. By the end of this video, you will have all the tips and tricks and know a few ways to do it.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Suzanne and Sarah YouTube channel. I'm Suzanne Moore.
And I'm Sarah Willis. We are Central Oregon's investment and real estate experts. Once again, my name is Sarah Willis. Suzanne Moore and I are a team here at Realty One Group Discovery in beautiful sunny Bend, Oregon. We are licensed realtors and we make these YouTube videos every single week on Bend lifestyle topics as well as investor-friendly topics for those of you looking to get into real estate, whether that's your primary home, buying a second home here, or a rental property in the area. We make videos to help educate you and give you a feeling on what it's like to live in the Central Oregon area. Up here on the screen, you will see a QR code. This is the best way to get in touch with us. We put out a really amazing email every single week. It's called our Top Picks, where we scour the market for Bend's best deals and send them straight to your inbox. On this email list as well, you'll get a once-a-month email that keeps you on the pulse of what's going on in the Bend real estate market and a couple other fun things going on in Bend as well. Before this video is over, we ask you to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel because that helps us help you. All right, so river adventure awaits here in Bend. If you know anything about Central Oregon, you know we have the Deschutes River running right through town. It is a loose divide between the east and west sides of town, and it is a hot spot for recreation most of the year and even in the winter as well, but it's definitely a highlight of living and visiting Bend. So it's scenic. The best thing to do is really choose your adventure on how to float this river, and there's lots of ways to do it. So various floating experiences, and the most common ones involve tubing. Anybody can do this, right? There's various spots to hop in the river with a tube of any kind, anything that floats really. You see all sorts of fun things in the river, starting at one spot and going downstream in a tube. Fun for all ages, right? Other options that are a little bit more adventurous, take a little bit more skill, kayaking and canoeing. Obviously more gear needed here. And this is for people seeking a little bit more of an active experience, a little bit more exercise perhaps. You can control where you're going a little bit better than you can in a tube. And then also we've got a few little whitewater areas that you can check out with these types of flotation devices as well. Finally, the most other common thing that we've seen a huge explosion of here over the past 10 years is stand-up paddleboarding, otherwise known as SUP. SUP allows you to explore the river, from higher up on the water, so you can stand up on this thing or kneel or even sit. It can be a really good workout if you go upstream, but it's just a nice, unique way to experience the Deschutes River. They make rigid stand-up paddleboards. They also make inflatable ones, which I prefer personally just because they roll up and go away in the winter if you're not using them then or just when you're not using them. But different strokes for different floats here on the Deschutes River. So after you figure out how you're going to float the river, whether that's kayak, canoe, tube, or stand-up paddleboard, then you want to plan your trip. So you want to choose your section of the Deschutes River. There's plenty of different areas to hop in. Probably the most popular area to get in is the Riverbend Park area or Drake Park area, are two different popular areas to float and paddle from. There's also the area up around Tumalo State Park. It's a great place to get in the river as well. And you also want to make sure you always check your conditions because water levels are different at different times of year, especially on the upper Deschutes, can get lower later in the summer. So if you've got that paddleboard and you have a rudder, a dagger board, that sort of thing hanging off the back, you may start hitting some rocks. So floating may be different conditions for different times of year. You might want to use a different device. Tubes seem to be always pretty user-friendly. If it gets too shallow, you're not hurting anything or scraping anything, you can kind of get up and walk to your next section. If you know. Next, safety first should always be your priority no matter what time of year or what device you're on. You always want to, especially the little ones, wear a life jacket. Adults as well, if you're not great swimmers. There are plenty of places along the Deschutes River where there's life jackets. Actually, they're just there for you to borrow if you need one, and apply sunscreen. Our sun is strong here, especially in the summer. Really important to put that sunscreen on. bring your water so you don't get dehydrated. And then you also want to have a waterproof bag for things that you don't want to get wet, like your phone. So next would be gear and equipment. Of course, you need that flotation device. You need a suitable one. You want to make sure if you haven't used that tube in a season that you pump it up at home before you get to the river, so you don't get to the river and realize that it has a hole in it. That is always a big bummer. And then in order to float, it really helps to have a paddle of some sorts. Now, this can kind of be creative if you need. On tubes, I tend to use flip-flops. That's a pretty common thing to just kind of help keep your direction, but also on tubes, you end up going in circles as well. So if you're on a stand-up paddleboard or a canoe or kayak, though, you definitely need a proper paddle for your craft. So making sure you're equipped with something to help you steer while you're out there. And different parts of the Deschutes have different flows. So in town, closer to downtown, it's super slow. You don't really have to worry about it that much, but there are parts of the river that move faster, that a paddle is more imperative. Finally, with gear and equipment, footwear is pretty important. You want something that straps onto your foot. A flip-flop, I guess, was a bad example here because they do fall off your feet, but I tend to just not even wear mine. But if you are someone that may feel like they need to get out and adjust something, it does help to have proper footwear on your feet, especially when you're getting in and out of the water from the banks of the river. It helps to have footwear on because it can be rocky or muddy, and I'll leave that up to you. Finally, river etiquette, leave no trace. This is super important. This is the idea that what you want to leave it like you found it, right? So you may be bringing beverages or food out on your float down the river. You just want to make sure that you pack out all your trash to help avoid damage. And there is wildlife on the river. You will see lots of birds. There are some fish, frogs. You just want to make sure that you leave these things alone, as this is their home and you are a guest in it. And then respect other floaters. Our river does get really busy in the summer. It makes it a really fun, exciting environment, but maintaining a safe distance from other people to prevent collisions as much as you can is also a safety tip that you should take advantage of. There aren't too many regulations when it comes to floating on our river specifically, except for that if you are imbibing in alcoholic beverages, of course, you are not to be belligerent. No littering, right? Those are important things. There's certain places where, of course, they're not going to want you to camp or park overnight. What else? I think that's about all I can think of. I mean, again, kids should always wear life jackets, but know the regulations just so you don't get in trouble and stay safe. That's what rules are for. Something that you need to take into consideration when you float and is a logistical part of this fun experience is planning for transportation. So you're starting in one spot on the river and you're ending on another. So you have to have a way to get back to where you parked. So we often will drop a bicycle at the end where we are going to finish. And then we park where we start. And so then we float, then we send someone back on the bicycle to get the car, and then they come back and park and we do the load up. And what's nice is, parking itself can be a little bit difficult to find in busy times of the year where you are putting in, but there are loading and unloading zones that have cars coming and going frequently. So when you do go to do the pickup, it's easy to do. And so in conclusion, floating the Deschutes River is an experience that everyone should have, whether you live here or you're visiting here. There are fun, safe ways to do it. This is a video about the different flotation devices that you can use when you're floating the river. Have your pick. There are accessible ones like the tubes. You can rent these, you can buy these. Just Google it when you get here where to rent all this stuff. They set up shop next to the river during the summer. And grab your gear, hit the river, and when you have that float and you say to yourself, oh my gosh, I need to come back here every single year, or man, I want to live in Bend, hope you guys think of us, and we would love to help you find your next home here in the Central Oregon area. Give us a call. We are here to help. Again, thank you for watching the Suzanne and Sarah YouTube channel. We hope you learned something fun today, and we'll see you on the next one.